Excellent. All righty. So we have Adrenaline, our next South Australian team. Sync listed at 17th. They were 19th going into finals. They were also the equal highest climbers of the tournament. They climbed 5 spots to 14th. 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third on the final day. Well, I guess we might as well kick off with you again, Ryan, seeing as you know these guys so well. Tell us about them and tell us how they did it.
Yeah, I guess a bit of a history on the team. So, they actually were the third team that we had. So when Nationals was originally going to be in 2021, we had 4 teams. So we had Aftershock, Apex, Adrenaline, and we had a variation of Aegis. And we did our qualification, like our qualifier comps, and by the end of it, it was going to be Apex, Aftershock, and Adrenaline were going to be the 3 teams we were going to send to Bendigo, and that's 2021. But obviously that fell through. So yeah, they've kind of struggled a little bit with, like, they've been training for so long for this thing that's just always been on the horizon. But yeah, I think when it finally came, they were like, yeah, they were super, super excited and they had a really good time. Yeah, I personally poured like quite a lot of energy over the years into helping coach these guys up, and yeah, I super proud of just like, yeah, every single one of them, and yeah, a five spot climb on the last day is super impressive, and it goes a little bit into their namesake. So they're called Adrenaline because at the time it was formed, like 4 of them were like in their teen years, like around that 16 to 18 years old, and they all love to drink energy drinks. So that's why they were called Adrenaline. But I think they're definitely a team that they love to, like, they kind of share each other's energy in a way. Someone gets a base, they're all like, let's go, let's go. The people at home hear that and they're like, woo, let's go. Very much like a bit of a momentum team, I guess. And once that ball starts rolling, it can be pretty hard to stop them. They actually beat us in one of the qualifier comps that we held leading up to what was going to be 2021 Nationals. So yeah, they're becoming very, very impressive pack on pack. Sam, or Hilahu, is the first year captain. He's been under a lot of pressure, I guess. A lot of the time when in training, when you come up against Apex and Aftershock, every second or third game, they had like a lot of really rough games at training, and it's quite easy to place a lot of the blame on like the captain in terms of the decisions they made. So but I was super impressed with Sam, or Hilahu's, temperament over the course of Nationals. He did a really good job of just like trying to keep a level head, and yeah, just like keep on pushing the team forward, finding the little things like they need to change, little adjustments. Yeah.
Yeah, what did you see, CV?
Lots of energy. These guys are the high scoring team basically. Players like to sort of break a game open, score bases. Not so much a defensive team like the others that we've discussed so far, but they are out there to score a high base, fast paced game from what I could see. Players that I noticed straight off. So you've got a Hark, which we know is a good, consistent player who performed really well. A new one I hadn't seen before, no idea, done really well as well. There's exceptional performance there. 90% tag ratio, 1.15. So I can tell his score ratio. He was one of their main attackers. He's out there scoring bases, blowing things up. And Hilahu, so first year captain, geez, it's a lot on your shoulders there. Took a bit of a dip on tag ratio, obviously, because he's probably coordinating the rest of the team, but we're still up there getting a lot of bases for the team and scoring reasonably high as well. But yeah, I noticed these guys like to try and break a game open.
Yeah, so looking at the average scores, did they average higher than the other teams? They averaged up around the 35 mark.
They were kind of a little bit more middle of the pack. There's not like a massive difference between the ones around them, but yeah, a little bit of a middle of the pack in terms of their average pack points.
I was noticing they, despite their keenness to play aggressive and be good at that style of game, they actually did win some defensive games on the final day. So they won a game with one base against the Dingoes and Leviathan, convincingly actually by 7K on field points, and then they won another one, close one, by 2K over the Archangels and Anomaly, and that was a 3-base game. So, and then the other games there was a whole mixed bag in there in terms of how many bases in the other ones, but they did demonstrate some diversity in the way they could play, and they got wins in those games, which is great. Is there anything you can share with us? What are they learning at the moment, Ryan? Are they going to stick together, and what are they learning at home at the moment in order to get better for next year?
Yeah, so as far as I'm aware, they're going to stick together. I think they're a pretty good unit. They all get along. They're all like playing games together all the time, which is obviously good for just like a bit of team bonding and building synergies and stuff. So I think CV was pretty spot on in terms of like how they play. So they go out with like Sam and then No Idea as their opening batsman, left-hander. So he's not new. He has played on Aftershock in 2018 and 2019, but in those years they placed, I can't remember what they placed 2018, but 2019 he was on my team and we placed 21st. So he has been around for a bit, but he's definitely improved like quite a lot in the 2 years leading up to this nationals that was always on the horizon. He's put quite a bit of effort into like getting his paneling better. So if anyone ever took a paneling duel against No Idea, they probably would have really struggled. He's got really good paneling. Super impressed with him. And then so Sam, you kind of alluded to his like tag ratio being very low. It was one of those things I think I said in the last video as well. That's probably something that you see quite consistently with those those less inexperienced in-game leaders, where they're having to devote quite a lot of their energy to like thinking about the game and the things they have to do, and it's not as pre-programmed into their brain that they're able to like keep up on that like pack-on-pack ability. So I think in the coming years, like Sam's a really smart player. He plays the game strategically, he plays it smart, and it's one of those cases again of they do their best to play the game strategically and in the best way, but sometimes just with like less even like individual pack-on-pack ability, because all of those individuals pack-on-pack are like really good. They're getting insane. But I guess a little bit more experience with those more nuanced things that are a little bit harder to identify. Things like how you coordinate with your teammates and like, how you're setting up when you're attacking a base rather than just rocking up and not thinking about it as much. Little things like that, even if it's not that specific, it's kind of hard to put a point on it, but they just need more experience is all it is. Harkrage, been playing for ages. He's one of those players that no matter what team is in, he's consistently like scores very high and has a pretty good tag ratio. You see here he was just short of that 1.0 tag ratio, but he's just a unit on any team he's on. He's just consistently good at shooting people. I think for Jesse is probably one of the most standout players that we've had for their first year. He's got that really tall, he's like 6 foot, a little bit like 6 foot, maybe 6'1", super lanky, super quick and like athletic. He's one of those guys that like, he's just good at everything. You go watch him like roller skate and he's like acing it on his first try. You go watch him play any video game he's never played before. Within a few goes, he's like the best at it. Arcade, smash it, whatever sport he would be in, he would get really good really quickly. And that really showed in laser tag as well. His pack-on-pack ability.
You've already recruited him for Tasmania by the sounds of things, mate.
No, not
yet.
What I'm hearing. No, maybe we'll see what happens. No.
Your people are speaking to his people right now. That's where it's at.
Yeah, something like that. No, I would absolutely have him if that was the way it ended up. He's also just like a really really good guy, a really good kid. Super courteous, very very polite. He's one of those guys where like if you shoot him in the arena, he'll be like, nice shot. If you get his base, he'll be like, oh, nice base. He's I don't think a negative thought ever crosses his mind. He's just like really really good guy. And I'm super impressed.
I'm gonna fly down there. I'm gonna fly down there and start trying to drag him to Queensland if you keep talking.
No, it's not allowed. I'll literally fight you for it.
That sounds like the model player that everybody wants to have in their scene.
100%. Yeah, super excited to see where he goes. Jeb. So Jeb and Jesse are kind of like the dynamic duo. They've been friends for a really long time. Their story was they started playing the social league, like the social members nights together, playing members formats, and then eventually Akira, who now owns Megazone, she was working on those members nights at the time, and she was like, these guys are getting pretty good, and she was like, you should join League. So they joined League together. They initially, they would sit together by themselves at a table. They would be a bit like, oh, who are all these guys? Eventually they started picking up the skills of the game like super 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 quick. Dynamic duo, you'll always see them in defense together. Even if it's just those two and no one else, they're really hard to deal with. They have some ability of just like, they just know what the other person's thinking. They know what the other person like wants to do in any situation. They just work off of each other really, really well.
It sounds like they finish each other's comms. Does one of them say back and the other one says door?
Almost.
Stuff like that.
Almost that good. Yeah. So Jesse's actually become one of the best last line defenders we have at home. So our home arena is like the bases are really built around like you can have that last line defender in the base that with good comms is really hard to deal with, and he's very quickly become top 3 last lines in Adelaide. He's insane. And then Jeb, on the other hand, has very quickly become like top 3 like door defenders. So yeah, very 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 good combo. Like I was saying before, Jeb, lady, comms, door defender. What else could you want? She's another one of those players. When she comms something, you can hear it on the other side of the arena, and it's not like when a fella comms and they try their best to do it super loud, and then it just ends up being like, you don't even know what they said. Did you say back or front? I got no idea, but it's like super crisp. I think again with Jeb, if she sticks around, super excited to see where she goes. I think I would like to see from both of them the other side of the coin. So their defense is like insane, really really good. I would like to see them really develop their offensive capabilities. They have the pack on pack skills to do it. I think they just need a little bit of that like you know what I mean? There's not really a word for it, just
I call it mongrel.
Mongrel, yeah.
Bit of mongrel, yeah.
Yeah, they just need a bit more of that. They're both too cool, too nice. They just need to be a bit more like, I would really love to see that from them, and they'll, after this Nationals, they'll obviously, a big step up, but if they can start getting that other side of the coin of their offensive capabilities, they're going to skyrocket, and they're going to be insane. And then Akira, she's becoming like a really solid, just like good all-round player, consistent, does what she's told. She's like has a lot of input on like team chats and stuff. She is really smart, and she's like picked up like the mental side of the game, like the macro strategic stuff. She's picking that up really well. So she was always really really valuable in their team chats in terms of like identifying things that could have been better. Like between her and Sam, they would kind of butt heads sometimes if they had like opposing ideologies, but I think at the end of the day, after button heads for a bit, they end up in a better place than they were. And I mean that kind of showed in their climb on their last day, right? So super impressed with all of them.
Well, I'm pumped. I can't wait to see where these guys go. CV, what do you think? What did you see from Adrenaline, and how do you think they'll make it to the next level?
The next level, I want to see them improve on their pack on pack, their individual skills. I want to see them turning over a high tag ratio, and I want the team collectively to tighten up the defense. I just believe that if they could outscore by tightening that defense. It'll allow their top three attacking triple in whatever combination to go through, score bases, and just be able to take games. As you're saying before, on their climb, the lower scoring base games were the ones that they won. So this team could potentially really outscore people pack on pack if they tighten up strategically that defense and stop giving away a lot of points from pack, and therefore the bases that they do get when they do go for a quick smash are going to be worth so much more, and take some more of those games.
I found, I find that interesting that, I haven't played Adrenaline. I don't know how they play, but from what I'm hearing is that they're a bit of a high octane team, so like to play aggressive. However, you're sharing with me that we've got potentially one of the best last lines that have come through the Adelaide system and one of the best second defenders. It actually looks like they've got a profile that should be set up for, like you're saying, CV, playing those defensive games, because essentially that's what champion teams are built around, right? You've got to get your defense right first. Like, you can be as aggressive as you want. If you can't defend your base, then you're not going to get. There's a certain lid on to how far you can go up the ladder. So it sounds like that might be their next evolution. Maybe being able to play high octane when they need to and playing the other way when they don't need to. And clearly that's what happened in finals. They played a couple of very defensive games that were very effective and won those. So anyway, best of luck to Adrenaline. I'm looking forward to playing all you guys that I haven't played yet. Next time we meet in the arena.
You will have to watch out when there's an arena that's got a really good position for last lines and bases, and you're all done for, I reckon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I'll say. Watch out.
So can you give us a sneak peek on that, CV? Are we going to have a last line position in Hobart?
2 bases, yeah.
2 bases? Okay, great. All right. Hear that, Husky? It's your year, mate.
Jesse's giving Husky a run for his money. I'm telling you. Watch out.
Good. That's what we need. Some competition for the Hus.